All right. So let's get going. Welcome again to everybody who has dialed in for this virtual information session. Today we will be talking about programs for experienced professionals. These are the universities that will be presenting today. We have Northwestern, Johns Hopkins, MIT, Tufts, USC. Cornell couldn't make it, but I have some information slides about them and their contact information, so you can reach out if you have more questions. A quick look at our agenda for this info session. I would like to introduce MEMPC. Most of you probably heard about it, but a few words. And then each of the programs will give an overview of their offerings. And in the end, we'll have time for Q&A. A few more logistics at this point. Almost everybody who's attending has been muted so far. If you have any questions, we'll take questions at the very end as we have time for Q&A. If you have any questions, I suggest either using the raise your hands feature that you'll see, or typing in, and I can unmute you, or typing in your question in the chat box, and I can ask a question on your behalf. All right. So with that, let's get started. So what is MEMPC? MEMPC is Master of Engineering Management Programs Consortium. So as you can see, programs from 9 of the top universities in the US have come together and are working together to promote engineering management programs to students and organizations. And if you haven't heard about engineering management before, we absolutely believe that we develop business savvy technology leaders. And with that, let's dive straight on to an overview of the programs. First up is Northwestern and Mark Werweth. Mark?
Morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Mark Werweth. I'm the director of the MEM program here at Northwestern. Basically, the MEM program here is located in Evanston, Illinois. We're about 10 or 11 miles north of Chicago. Our course duration is roughly 9 months for the people who want to go through it very quickly. Otherwise, the 12 courses could easily be completed in 15 months with an internship as students elect. So internships are allowed, but they're not required. Our courses run in 10-week quarters. Our class size is roughly 30 to 40 full-time students and 50 to 60 part-time students. One of the advantages of our program is that you will be taking classes with working professionals locally sourced from the Chicago area, as well as full-time students sourced from around the world. We target STEM professionals, so we do require some sort of STEM background, and we require 3 years of work experience. It's an on-campus program. We don't have courses that are completed online. However, we do have some online components to our courses to allow us to flip certain classes around and allow more discussion in class. We do have full-time and part-time options, which means our classes are offered at night, which gives full-time students the flexibility of doing interviews and doing other seminars, workshops, etc. during the day. So we do have some internships available. We source many internships from around Chicago and around the country. However, in the end, it's really up to the student to pursue those and to determine what career path they want to have. Our application deadlines for round 1 would be January 15th, and for round 2, it's March 15th. So it's not too early to start thinking about pulling that together. The program itself has 3 areas of concentration. I'll be getting into that in a few moments. We have relatively small class sizes. I would say somewhere between 20 and 30 students per class. All of these courses are taught by seasoned field practitioners, many of them CEOs and CTOs. And if you needed more information, you can get it at mem.northwestern.edu. This next slide talks about who we're targeting. Again, mid-level experienced practicing engineers, those who want to have a systems perspective and to apply engineering concepts and analytical tools to solve business problems, right? Those who are striving to be in the C-suite of either CEO or CTO, or those who want to start their own business either as an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur within a company. The next slide, basically, we could progress. There you go. This is our core, these are our core classes. I mentioned earlier we have 12 courses. 7 of which are core, 2 are advanced engineering methods for management, and then we have 3 electives. We are not a cohort-based system, so you come in with experience, we expect you to know what you want to pursue, and we give you that flexibility to pursue it. So I would underscore the word flexibility here. Our courses are held again Monday through Thursday night, as well as occasional Saturday morning classes for the convenience of our students. Basically, these are the 7 core classes. I'm not going to get into them in any detail. The engineering management course, though, is our gateway course where we actually have you run a business in a simulated mode, and you're working in teams to compete with other teams in running a business in the cloud. Our capstone class at the end, strategic management, really looks at the issue of macroeconomics and how it affects business decisions that you're going to be confronting every day. So we have very big picture courses like strategic management, and we also have more traditional courses like accounting and finance that you would expect to see. But again, all of our courses are tailored for engineers and STEM professionals. Next slide basically looks at the 3 areas of concentration: project and process management, managerial analytics, and design and innovation. So you can come in and choose any one of these, or you can choose to forego all of them and have a more generalized MEM experience. So these are the types of courses, and this is how we've organized it so that you can pursue the track that best fits you. The next slide basically talks about our advanced engineering methods courses. Again, we're part of the industrial engineering and management sciences department. So obviously we're going to have that kind of orientation towards the use of analytics, data science, right? We're not going to turn you into a data scientist, but you will see data science as the theme for many of our courses because of where we reside and our obvious leanings and tendencies. Next slide. This is the requirements. Basically, we expect you to have an undergrad STEM degree with a 3.0 GPA. GMAT or GRE scores are required for those who have less than 3 years experience, 3 letters of reference from senior people you know well, a strong and concise personal statement. We'd like to see reasonable career progression, post-calculus probability and statistics, which if you're lacking that, you can make it up in the summer. Good, strong TOEFL or IELTS scores. And then, of course, this $50 application fee, which is waived because you're attending the session, and Route2 will get us the names of those who attended. So many students, if not all of them, wind up getting interviewed before they're admitted. So don't be surprised if you get an interview phone call or email. And I think that's it for me.
That it is. Thank you so much, Mark, for this overview. I will have Mark's contact information on the last page as well, and I will make sure I send you all the slides from this info session in case you have more questions about the Northwestern program. Thanks again, Mark. All right. Moving on, next we have the Johns Hopkins MEM program for experienced professionals, and we have Rick Blank, who's the program coordinator and instructor, talking us through.
Thank you. Are you an early to mid-career scientist or engineer, balancing commitments between your full-time job and your family, and wondering how to fit in pursuit of your master's degree? I am Rick Blank, program coordinator and instructor in the Johns Hopkins Engineering for Professionals Master of Engineering Management program, and I may have the answer for you. Next slide, please. Our engineering management degree is offered through the Engineering for Professionals program, a division within the Johns Hopkins Whiting School of Engineering. Over 4,400 part-time students pursue degrees in 21 engineering fields, including 250 students in engineering management. Our programs are taught by working professionals for working professionals. They provide you the opportunity to complete your master's degree part-time, completely online, and from anywhere in the world. All you need is an internet connection. Our degree is academically rigorous, similar to on-campus residential programs, but with courses specifically designed for the working professional that enhance your knowledge and build the essential skills to help you excel in your career. While our engineering management program is available online, by using current distance technologies, our instructors engage with you in real time, including team-based projects and seminar-type discussions. And you will be taking classes from a top-ranked program. U.S. News ranks Johns Hopkins 14th in the nation for online engineering master's degrees, and our engineering management program is ranked in the top 5 by bestcolleges.com, thebestschools.com, and collegechoice.com. Next slide, please. So how does the program work? You will take 10 courses and have 5 years to complete the program. Courses are offered all 3 semesters throughout the year, so most students complete in approximately 3.5 years. You design your learning experience with a program of study that includes 5 management courses particularly relevant to leading projects and people in technical organizations, and 5 courses from your chosen specialty track. Class sizes range from 5 to 19, with a typical online class of 12 students and 2 co-instructors. Next slide, please. Your 5 core engineering management courses build the fundamental skills to lead projects, people, and strategy. Next slide, please. Then, tailor the balance of the program specifically for you by choosing 5 courses from a specialty track aligned with your interest, your organization, and your industry. The 13 technical specialties are preferred for the individual contributor or functional manager who wants to further develop a mix of management and technical skills while enhancing your ability to supervise technical personnel. And in fall of 2020, we will be adding tracks for data science, systems engineering, and space systems engineering. Our program has an additional specialty track, technical management leadership, designed for those pursuing a career in systems acquisition, systems development, or a design build domain as a product line manager, project manager, program manager, or aspirations for general management. Next slide, please. Admissions include 3 general requirements. Have a bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university, have a grade point average of at least 3.0 in the latter half of your undergraduate studies, and official transcripts from your college or university. Note that GRE scores are not required. In addition, to be accepted into the Engineering for Professionals Engineering Management program, you must have an undergraduate degree in a science or engineering field, a minimum of 2 years relevant full-time work experience, a detailed professional resume, and be accepted into both the engineering management program and your selected specialization track. Next slide, please. We have a rolling admission, so you can apply anytime and start any semester, fall, spring, or summer. Let us help prepare you for leadership roles in your technical organization. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rick. That was really great. Next up, we have the System Design and Management program from MIT. And Joan's going to talk us through it.
Good morning. My name is Joan Rubin. I'm the Executive Director of the System Design and Management program here at MIT. I'm going to take the next few slides just to give you an overview of what our program looks like, the curriculum requirements, and then some background on where our students go when they leave SDM. Next slide, please, Ritu. So the SDM System Design and Management program was founded just about 25 years ago, and it was founded as a joint program between industry and MIT. And the goal of it then, as it is today, is really to build educational competence for future technical leaders. What we look at is our differentiation is that we really help students handle and manage complex product design and systems. And I'll talk a little bit more about the systems focus. If I go back to the left side of the screen here, Tom Magnanti was one of the founding co-directors, and it's a statement that I think held true back when we were founded, and it holds true today, that the SDM program is a program for those that really want to be a leader within the technical field, rather than use this degree as a springboard to get out of a technical or an engineering program. We are jointly offered by the MIT School of Engineering and the Sloan School of Management, but it results in a single Master of Science degree in engineering and management. Next slide, please, Ritu. This just gives you a quick snapshot of our curriculum. The one unifying piece that every student is responsible for taking is our SDM integrated core. This is a year-long class that brings together the idea of system architecture, or in layman's terms, thinking about system requirements, user needs, identifying trade space. It also puts together systems engineering and program and project management. We do it in an integrated spiral method throughout the year so that you're introduced to concepts, you get a chance to learn them, test them, trial them, and then we bring in a semester-long project sponsored by industry to be able to apply that in real-world situations. Outside of the core, there's an amazing amount of flexibility to the MIT degree. You'll see here on the left side the engineering. There are both depth courses and electives, and on the right side, management foundation and management electives. Each of those courses are taken in the respective schools, the School of Engineering or the Sloan School of Management, and they are taken with students that are pursuing master's or advanced degrees in those schools. So you get a chance to build and develop relationships with students and cohorts across MIT. You're part of the MIT community as well as the SDM program. The credits for MIT are a little bit different than many universities. At MIT, a credit is designed to reflect the number of hours you spend on a course in a given week. So typically engineering courses are 12 credit units. Management courses are often 6 or 9 credit units. And so what you'll understand as you look at this is that what you're required to take outside of the core is generally 1 engineering depth class, and that takes a topic that was touched on in the core and goes further into depth. And 2 management foundation courses, and those are generally courses that would be part of a typical MBA program. And then the electives are anything that fits for you in your career and your career direction. We work as an advisory team to really help you craft this degree as an experienced professional to fit where you anticipate taking your next steps in your degree. In the engineering school, there are 250 plus courses that are available to you, and you can take anything effectively in the catalog at MIT. On the management side, it's about 150 courses available through Sloan. And I think the biggest challenge our students face is figuring out what classes to put together to make the degree happen. Finally, I think one of the differentiators on our program is the inclusion of a single master's thesis. This is a 24-unit master's thesis. And the goal here is to be able to take the concepts that you've learned and build that together. We have sponsors from industry. We work with researchers across MIT, and we work with you to help build relationships to have a master's thesis that's going to, again, help you with your next step in your career. Ritu, next slide, please. I've given a little bit of a profile here, and I'll talk about what our admissions requirements are, but our students are older. On average, they have 8 to 10 years of professional experience. We do require a minimum of 3 years prior to being considered for admission. One of the things we try very hard to do is to build a broad diversity into our cohort. And part of that is bringing in students from a wide range of industries. Our belief is that students learn as much from the person sitting next to them in the classroom as they do from the faculty. And so this diversity is really critical to the learning experience. About 40 to 50% are partially or fully sponsored by their company. It's not anything we consider as a benefit or a downside to the application. About 30% are local commuters, half are US citizens, and about half hold an advanced degree when they're admitted to SDM. Our admissions requirements in terms of what the application looks like are very similar to other universities. We do require an undergraduate degree that has a solid background in technology, engineering, math, or science. Although I will say that we've had liberal arts students that have those core foundational backgrounds that are able to achieve admissions to the program. We do require GMAT or GRE within the last 5 years. We look for 3 letters of reference. We have a statement of purpose as well as a leadership essay. And then, as I mentioned, 3 years experience. The caveat there is that if you only hold a bachelor's degree, we do look for 5 years experience because we integrate that experience into the classroom setting. Ritu, next slide, please. MIT has career compatible options, and there is a choice of being on campus full-time, a local commuter, or pursuing the degree as a distance student. As an on-campus full-time student, you can do the program in as little as 12 months, but many students look at funding options which often come through the form of a teaching assistantship or research assistantship, or they want to do an internship in the summertime, and they oftentimes will extend to 16 months. Local commuters are generally students within the Boston area, and they'll come to campus and take 1 to 2 classes a semester. It typically takes them about 2 years to go through the program, and we do lower the tuition to a low tuition rate for students that are only taking 1 or 2 classes to be able to equal out the cost of the education. And finally, we do offer a distance option. The distance option, the first year is done completely away from campus, with the exception of 3 single weeks that we ask students to come, one in August, one in January, and one in May. They attend class synchronously. That means that you're logging on while class is happening, you're participating in class, asking questions, you're teamed with students that are part of the on-campus cohort, and so it's a blended class experience. The one requirement MIT has for any distance student is that every student must plan to spend 1 semester on campus. So if you're interested in this, you need to be able to consider if you're going to be able to take 13 weeks out of your career to come to the MIT campus. And that's when you'll complete your elective and foundation courses. And then the final semester is done at a distance to complete the thesis work. And we work very closely with students to make that career compatible option work. Ritu, next slide. Finally, I just wanted to give a quick picture, and this information is actually on the MIT website if you go to sdm.mit.edu. This just is the data from last year's employment report. And I think the pieces that I want to point out is that students go into all different industries because they come in with backgrounds from across the globe and in industries that range sectors. They do go out. Primarily, students end up on the East Coast or West Coast, but we find that they do go back and into jobs around the globe. And finally, I don't want to use you to look at numbers here in particular as far as what your starting or ending salary is. What we do note is that students on average see a little more than a 60% increase in their salary from the time they enter MIT to their immediate job following the program. If you're interested, I encourage you to look at the website again, sdm.mit.edu if you're looking for more information. And the last slide will have my contact information, and please feel free to reach out to me directly. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Joan. We have a few more schools to go, and so the next up is the Engineering Management Program at Tufts University. And Nancy is going to take us through it.
Nancy, I think you're still on mute.
You got me there?
Unmuted.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Joan. Hi, everyone. My name is Nancy Bushko. I'm the Director of Admissions here at Tufts Gordon Institute. Happy to be here, and I'll be talking over the next several minutes about 2 programs that we have for people who have work experience. That is an online and an on-campus program. And our whole mission here at the Gordon Institute is, as Ritu said at the beginning, really to take people who are in technology professionals, and prepare them to become industry leaders. Next slide. So for people who may not be familiar with Tufts, let me just say a few words. First, the Gordon Institute is the home base. We're part of the Tufts School of Engineering, where the engineering management programs are offered. And the Gordon Institute is the hub. It's the home of innovation, entrepreneurship, and leadership within the School of Engineering. And we're also home to Tufts Entrepreneurship Center. So there's a lot of resources, expertise for students who are in the MSEM program to really draw from. We also are top ranked in the US in terms of salary of our graduates, an index for how innovative the university is in terms of how much research comes out of it, as well as highly ranked in terms of selectivity. We have about 11,000 students here at Tufts, half of whom are graduate students. So there's a rich graduate student community here, along with a network of alumni, very close-knit, very supportive alumni who are willing to help each other as well as current students at Tufts. So next slide. And let me just say a few words, since we're talking about technology leadership and management programs. I do think it's important to call out that, Boston is where we call home. It is a global center for innovation, entrepreneurship, and technology with so many universities and startups. And it's this ecosystem from which many of our students to the MSEM program are coming, that we draw from and that they take advantage of while they're here on campus. Next slide. So let me just say a little bit more about the network of people in the MSEM program at the Gordon Institute. So currently, in any given year, we have 125 plus or minus total students enrolled in the engineering management programs at one given point in time. This is for the on-campus program. And that number means people who are in their first year of the program, their second year, or the third year. That's the total enrollment. Each year, we're enrolling about 60 to 70 new students, and our class sizes range between 20 and 25. Just in 2 months' time, we're launching this new online program. And so we don't have any current students or alumni from that, but we will soon be launching that just in a few months. And we have close to 900 alumni of our program, most of whom are living and working within commuting distance to the Tufts campus. Next slide. So let me just say what we feel is differentiated about what we do here at the Gordon Institute and what our sort of values and pillars are upon which we build our curriculum and our experience for students. So we've been doing this for a long time. We have over 30 years of experience of developing high impact technology leaders. The focus of everything we do, we're a practical program. We're designing our curriculum to provide you with knowledge and expertise that you can apply at work the next day. And also all of our faculty, 100% of our faculty have industry experience. These are people who have sort of lived through that fog of ambiguity, of challenges in the real world, and they bring that experience to the classroom. And we also have a strong record, a 30-year record of strong outcomes and success of our graduates. 50% of whom are promoted even before they graduate from the program. So they're working while they're doing their program, and they graduate, they're promoted even before they graduate, with the ability to not only have career advancement within their existing companies, but also mobility in their careers to new job functions or new industries. And we have data on that on our website that you can take a further look at. And also, whether you do our online or our on-campus program, you are getting the same degree, the same credential from a recognized university. Next slide, Rutu. So we have two program options for you to choose from, as I had said from the beginning. Our long flagship program, long-standing on-campus, as well as this new online program, which is launching soon. Both programs are designed for working professionals, people who are going to do the program mostly part-time, applying what they're learning as they're going through the program, and they have a minimum of 2 years of experience. On average, our students are about 30 years old with about 6 years of work experience, but our median level of experience is around 5 years. So half of our population has between 2 and 5 years of experience. The rest have above 5 years. Our on-campus program is a cohort-based model. I'll say a little bit about that a little bit more, and you can complete the program in 2 or 3 years, and it's a fall start. Everybody begins the program in this immersive experience, cohort-based together. I do want to say, although the on-campus program is designed, and the vast majority of students are people who live within commuting distance to our campus near Boston, there is an option, and we have a couple of international students every year who will do the on-campus experience. And so you can do that, you can enroll full-time. You just have to be aware that you do have to commit to being on campus here for 2 years. And I can certainly provide more info if people are interested. The online program, on the other hand, what we decided to do with the online is make it as flexible as possible for people. So we took all the best practices and competencies that we believe define our on-campus program and tried to, or have made that translated into an online experience with the maximum amount of flexibility, meaning all of the courses are asynchronous, 100% online. You can earn your degree in as quick as 2 years, but you can take longer and pace it yourself, so you can take up to 5 years if necessary. And you have complete flexibility to do the degree and start it in fall, spring, or summer. Next slide. A few more words to say about the on-campus program. I think one of the things that we, as I said earlier, this has been a flagship, a long time opportunity that we've provided for people. It's about a cohort experience. Everybody comes to class together. There's learning that happens from the students just as much from each other as from the faculty members. And you will be with this cohort through your experience in the first year. Next slide. So in the on-campus program, it's broken down into a core curriculum and electives. And all students are taking these 16 short courses together in lockstep over 2 years, over 4 semesters. And they complete an industry consulting project this summer between the first and second year of the program. And we have built all of our programs on a foundation of short courses. And we do that because we integrate the courses together over the course of any given semester so that you can gain knowledge in parallel as you move through the program and apply that learning in the workplace. And every semester, you are doing a team-based project, which allows you to take those knowledge bits that you're learning in these intense short courses and applying it in the real world to conduct a project. So that is sort of the premise upon these short courses. And the industry consulting project, everybody is assigned a team project that they go out in industry the summer between the first and second year. Everybody continues to work full-time, yet you work on your own as a self-directed team to do a consulting project for a local company. Next slide. And electives, this is where you have a great opportunity to customize your experience with electives that really can be based on your own interest and career goals. And you have the choice of doing a capstone leadership project in the company you're working for as you're continuing to work. You can do engineering management focused electives, or you can choose any electives from across Tufts University. Next slide. A few more words about the online program. Again, as I said, 100% online, fully asynchronous. We take great pride in having built a program which provides a personalized approach to online learning. And what we mean by that, every online student will have a faculty advisor. In our leadership courses, you will have one-on-one coaching sessions virtually with the faculty member. You'll have virtual office hours and you'll have team-based projects. You'll also have a dedicated administrative support person who will be there, your direct point of contact to answer your questions and help you with any problems that you may have. So we're trying to build this online experience to be a personalized experience for people. Next slide. And here's the curriculum, again, a series of short courses which you do at your own pace, and then you take that learning in those short courses and apply it to an integrated team project. And then part 2, you do another set of short 7-week short courses and culminate that with an individual capstone project that you will do in the company that you're working for. And then finally, you do complete electives that you have the choice to build your own track, your own area of expertise based on your own personal career goals and interests. Next slide. And here's the tuition where you can see you have the ability. We do have many of our students receiving tuition reimbursement to fund a large portion of the tuition or part of the tuition. And you can leverage multiple years of reimbursement caps from your employer as we split the tuition across your terms of enrollment. Next slide. And finally, we invite you to join us. We have an upcoming deadline for the online program for December 1st, and also for the on-campus and online programs for next fall for January 15th, and then we'll have multiple rounds subsequent to that. We do encourage people to have STEM undergraduate degrees and 2 years of experience, but we do find that many people who do not have STEM degrees but have requisite work experience do very well in the program. No GRE or GMAT is required, and the TOEFL is required for international students. So with that, I hope I gave you a good overview of the program. Really want to encourage anybody who is working, wants to continue to work and learn these skills either on campus or online to contact me for additional info. Thanks very much.
Great, thank you so much, Nancy, for that overview of your online as well as on-campus MSEM program. We have next up is our University of Southern California and their MSEM program. Go Gisa.
Okay. Thanks very much, Rutu. And I wanted to actually really differentiate somewhat from the previous speakers because our program is a little bit different. It is, and I'll get into all the details. We are located in the city of Los Angeles, and in the center of a large metropolitan area. Next slide, please. Okay, it is the oldest private university in the West Coast. It was founded in 1880. It is a relatively large school with almost 50,000 students, more graduate students than undergraduate, and about 4,400 full-time faculty. I think one of our real features, we are located in the Los Angeles area with ample opportunities for both part-time and full-time work. Next slide, please. Okay, we, just as the Northwestern program, are actually housed in an academic department. There are 8 of those in the Viterbi School of Engineering. We happen to be in the Industrial and Systems Engineering department. As you can see from the data, from the size of our engineering school, I think very significantly, we have more than 76,000 alumni located all around the world. Next slide, please. Okay, that's me. I've been at USC this is my 30th year, and I spent quite a bit of years in industry. I'm not quite that old. There's some overlap in time in there. My background is in mechanical engineering, specifically heat transfer, but I've been working in manufacturing and industrial engineering for a better part of the last 40 years. Next slide, please. Okay, now here's where I think I want to make sure that you understand what our program is actually really all about. Obviously, it's aimed at making engineers good managers, and especially good managers of engineering type of organizations or projects. So that's what the program is aimed at. We do not actually operate in cohorts, and so there's a lot of freedom in the sequence in which you actually take your classes. So the program does admit people without experience, but as this particular webinar is aimed at people with experience, I do want to point out that even those people coming in with recent bachelor degrees tend to have at least 2 or 3 years of experience. Some of them, of course, have no experience. So we have a full range of almost no experience to practically 10 or 15 years of experience with some of our students. Next slide, please. Okay, just briefly, let me run through the program content, and then we'll talk quite a bit more about how a student experience actually is at USC. We have a core of, as you can see, the 4 courses there of statistics, engineering management, team management, and project management and economic analysis. The program you're looking at is not the one that's in the current catalog. The difference being that we've added the analytics and technology, and we've added the tracks. But since we're talking about people coming in the fall, if you come in the spring, classes you would take with the existing core, which is the same, would obviously be applicable to the newer program as well if you chose to change to it. Okay, next slide, please. So I think the real feature of the program coming in the fall is that you have tracks available. But I think for most people, it really makes sense to make up your own custom track. And I'm here to advise you to select the courses that will make a coherent whole of your experience. In terms of where our students actually go, the vast majority wind up in supply chain and consulting kinds of jobs. Analytics really a relatively new area, so I don't have a lot of experience of people going into that area, but of course you can obviously major in that particular track. And the innovation and technology has always been a popular subset as well. Next slide, please. Okay, one of the unique offerings that we have is the ability to get a dual degree with a substantially less number of units. So you'd get both an MS in engineering management as well as potentially an MS in one of these 4 engineering fields. This would be especially ideal for students who want to enhance their prior expertise, besides also preparing themselves or enhancing their current management skills. So instead of 60 units, you really only have to pay 48 units, which obviously is a substantial savings. And all of these programs are available online. Next slide, please. Okay, so what do our students do? Well, there's lots of things to do in Los Angeles, but of course, mostly they do things on campus. We have a very, very active student organization, and they have frequent mixers and talks by potential employers and tutorials that we arrange throughout the semester. Okay, as far as what the graduates do, they work mostly, like as I said, in supply chain and in a consulting mode. Although there's always a smattering of people who wind up in the movie industry or in healthcare. So there's many options for students coming out. Next slide, please. Oh, there we go. Okay. So we do, as the other schools, require an undergraduate degree that's related to engineering, math, or hard science, although we will consider people coming out of programs like psychology and social work, where there tends to be a strong mathematical, especially statistical background. There's no hard and fast rule for undergraduate GPA, but in general, to be competitive, you should be at least at a 3. We do require a GRE, that's recent. And as you see below, we want to get a CV. We also recommend, we highly recommend recommendations, and a statement of purpose is required. For international applicants whose native language is not English, you also have to take the TOEFL. Next slide, please. Okay, so our spring admit obviously has passed, but as you'll see on a subsequent page, you can start as a limited student, which I'll explain on a subsequent page. And I can personally attest to that, because when I first started at USC in my graduate work, I was a limited student also, because I made up my mind in August in order to start school in September, and obviously had missed the application deadline. For fall of 2020, we're actually coming up fairly close on January 15th. Next slide, please. Okay, so here's, I think, there's really what I want to make sure I concentrate on, because we're aiming, I think, at people who are probably working already and really cannot come on campus. We do not require an on-campus presence. You can take the whole degree or degrees online. And obviously, if you're doing it online and are working full-time, it's probably going to take you 2.5 to 3 years to get done. Our maximum allowable is 5 years, so you can drag out your degree for that length of time in order to deal with the finances, or just simply because of your workload. Okay, I want to concentrate now on telling you more about our distance programs. Next slide, please. So we call it DEN, Distance Education Network. We've had a network for over 45 years, starting with closed circuit TV and then transitioning into webcasts and the internet. The experience is the same. You can participate live if you wish. You don't have to. We do run WebEx, so you can talk to me or the other professors, and we'd respond verbally. We cannot see you, but you can see us. Okay, and homework is the same. You submit it electronically, and it's graded and returned electronically to you. And your exams are at the same as they are on campus, except that obviously they are proctored, and we arrange the proctoring centers and make sure that they're available and convenient to you. Next slide, please. Okay, this slide basically makes the point that there is no difference in an on-campus or an off-campus degree. So when you get your diploma, there's no mention of the fact whether you took it online or on campus. Next slide, please. This is a typical view. Each class, as it is being, it's a blended program, which means that on-campus students are taking exactly the same classes. And this is the view from the technician's booth. Each class has a technician who then manipulates the microphones and the speakers and also the materials that the professor may be using. So I may be using a laptop, or then I have an overhead camera if I'm writing on paper, or we have a smart board behind us, which we can also write on. So it's very interactive. And I usually get at least half the distance students tend to come in on WebEx. Obviously, if you are in a vastly different time zone, that is not a practical thing, or you can't get away from work. So that's why you can do all classes asynchronously as well. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is expanding on the things that I just talked about. We make all kinds of technology available for you to create interaction with the other students. We do not have a capstone project, so that there is no difficulty in terms of trying to get together as a team. Next slide, please. Okay, so I already mentioned the no difference, so I'll go on to the next slide. Okay, here's where I want to discuss two important aspects. One is the limited status, which means that you can take up to 12 units before actually being admitted. There's no guarantee of admission, but obviously if you do reasonably well in the classes that you take as a limited student, you'll probably be admitted. The other thing we have is student deferment, where if we know that your company is supporting your studies, then we actually let you. You don't have to wait for the reimbursement from the company, but you can actually take the class and have the company pay at the end. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. Our tuition is roughly $2,000 a unit. So it's a program of 30 units. So you're really talking about $60,000 total for the thing. There are a few scholarships available. They are not particularly large. So basically, most people pay the vast majority of the expenses. Next slide, please. And so here's the information for you to find out more about the program if you so wish. And at the very end, you'll see my email. And I am very, very good at answering emails. So thank you very much for listening.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Giza. As I mentioned earlier, representatives from Cornell's MEM program weren't able to join today, but I have a quick information slide here for them. Their distance learning program that is just being launched is geared towards experienced professionals. So if you're interested in learning more about it, the deadline to apply for it is March 1st, 2020. And here's the contact information for Lisa Gerber. You can schedule a meeting with her or email her, and she's really good at responding as well. That said, we have a few minutes for questions. So if you have any questions, please use the raise your hand feature so I can unmute you, or you can type in your question in the chat box and I can ask it on your behalf. Any questions so far? All right. So I guess one of the questions would be, one of the questions that has come through is Northwestern the only school that has the admission fee waiver for students attending this session?
We do not have a waiver as far as I know.
Yes, Tufts does, and we will be sending the directions to any attendees after the session is over.
And this is Rick from Johns Hopkins. We'd have to check the website, but I believe we do not have an application fee at all.
All right, Joan.
MIT does not have a fee waiver in place.
All right. So far we have Northwestern in touch, and I will send the attendee information to them. So if you do apply, you get the admission fee waiver. Any other questions? As you can see from the info session that we have a variety of programs, all geared towards experienced professionals. And then each program has its own focus and nuance. And I highly recommend you to go to each of the program's website, as well as reach out to the contacts listed here or the program directors if you have any question about the admission requirements or what the program is about or anything else. All right. If there are no more questions, I would like to thank all the panelists for taking the time and joining us today on this Friday to give an overview of your MEM program. I really appreciate it. I'm sure the attendees found this information useful. Again, the contact information is on this last slide. If you have any questions about MEMPC itself, please feel free to reach out to me. My email address is on it as well. And if you would like to get more information, or if you want to be on the mailing list where we send you information about upcoming MEMPC events, please sign up and put in a request at mempc.org/contact. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day and have a great weekend. Take care.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.